Ladies and gentlemen, this is the most important and funnest event of this entire Decipher. Are people talking in the back row there? Jay. Jay.
Thank you, Stacy.
I'm going to start over. Okay, I'm so excited for this, and I could not be here yesterday, and all I heard yesterday afternoon was what a loser I am for missing this, because I guess it was amazing. How many people were here? How many people today were here yesterday as well? Okay, all right, okay. So this is the scale day, ladies and gentlemen. It's all about scale, and we have 10 teams, right? Is it 10 teams competing, and one winner and one runner-up. I was not asked to be a judge, which I'm very unhappy about, but we have our illustrious judges right here in the front row. They have their bank account, their wallets, right? Right in front. No, just kidding. Okay, and the only thing I want to say besides welcome and how excited I am about it is that I'm doing the last panel today, and we are going to announce the winners and the runner-ups. Yeah, the winners and the runner-ups of both days at the very end. So you will be the very kind of last things that come out of my mouth to close Decipher, which I think is kind of cool. So with no further ado, I hand this over to Joe.
Thanks. Cool. Thanks. Thanks, Stacy.
Thank you, Stacy.
Okay. So this has been a complete roller coaster. It's been amazing. We were blown away by all the projects submitting to participate in the Scale Pitch Competition. So the Scale Pitch Competition is targeting viable seed stage companies who've either gone through an accelerator or their projects in the ecosystem that are looking for funding. The 4 judges, so we have Ryan T., Head of Ecosystem Funding at the Foundation, AJ Milne from Optio Capital, and Melanie Moore, welcome, founder and CEO of One Protocol. And thank you so much. So just the pitches are going to be 3 minutes. It's going to be really quick. There's 2 minutes of questioning. I do want to highlight that there are accelerator leads in the room. If you want to just stand up really quickly, Lorenzo from the Rocker Accelerator. So these are like targeting projects kind of yesterday from the Bill that want to go into accelerators. It's good to know you're in the room. There's Michael Hoffweller. Is he in the room? Hi, he's over there. From Axel Accelerator. They are closing their applications in January, so any startups in the room that want to participate in an accelerator, they're closing in January. And we have Asim. Is he from Eterna? Is he there in the room? I actually don't know if he's here. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so I'm going to kick it off. Our first project.
Oops, sorry, before we do, just a quick word to the contestants and to the audience to forgive me if I come across as rude. It is a strict 3 minutes, so I know Joe touched on it there. So you guys will have 3 minutes to pitch. With 30 seconds left, I'll make a noise like this. After 30 seconds, you got 2 minutes of Q&A, rapid fire from my judges, and then it's on to the next one. We got 10 pitches to fit in the next 60 minutes, so we got to keep it ticking over. Best of luck to everybody, and thank you.
Yes, and the other thing as well is clap and roar for the projects that you like. You know, it's just really nice for them because it's hard to come up and pitch. So, yay! Okay, great. And the first pitcher is Sarabi from Dignify. Dignify is a DeFi platform to connect digital asset liquidity to SMBs. Okay, welcome, Sarabi.
Hi, everyone. You can all hear me? Great. Thank you so much. My name is Surabhi, and I'm co-founder of Dignify. Dignify is a DeFi platform to connect digital asset liquidity to SMB-focused credit fintechs. Team Dignify, we have dedicated our careers to solve innovatively for small and medium businesses. I'm a structured finance and MSME credit specialist. I have built close to $1.5 billion book in emerging markets in this space. And this is my second startup in SME credit space. My co-founder, Nishant, who has also solved for the SMB ecosystem, but more from product and technology point of view. $5 trillion access to credit gap for SMEs exists because lender to the SMB ecosystem, like shadow lenders and credit fintechs, themselves struggle to raise liquidity. And the reasons are, banking liquidity goes to large industries only. Number 2, bond markets are nascent and underdeveloped. Number 3, opacity of the TradFi world. Oops. Yeah, sorry. Meanwhile, in the Web3 world, stablecoin liquidity has grown 30 times in last 2 years. However, yields have been highly volatile. Digital asset liquidity is currently seeking competitive and stable yields, diversification, and real-world impact. Web3 rails allow us to build global credit markets on chain because global liquidity is accessible, tokenization, which solves for fractional ownership and liquidity, and on-chain immutability, which allows us to build credit primitives on-chain. This is a protocol schematic. Borrowers, reputed lenders can borrow from the protocol. Liquidity providers invest into a diversified pool of opportunities, and governance is managed by a DAO made up of credit experts and lending experts. Looking at the massive opportunity, few DeFi RWA protocols have emerged in last 1.5 years. We believe that early stage focus, which is required to scale such an offering, seems to be missing. Focus on an end borrower, focus on a specific geography, and also focus on skin in the game by the protocol and risk management. Therefore, Dignify's moats are built around these 3 things. Number 1, we are sharply focused on SMB-focused credit fintechs only for our GTM. Borrower geography is going to be emerging market, but again, SEA is our target market. We are providing first loss of 10% to early liquidity providers, which is augmented by 110% collateral provided by borrowers, tokenized and registered on-chain. Our journey, our MVP is there on the testnet. We have a team, and we have also put together a strong borrower pipeline of $50 million. Next step for us is do a fundraise, go for audits, and do a mainnet launch. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Okay, questions from our judges.
Thank you very much. Very well done, very well presented. You mentioned that you have a target, a pipeline already of 50 million. Have you executed on the platform any transactions just yet?
No, so we are on testnet at this point of time. Protocol is not live yet. We have to go for security audits, and also then we can start and do a GTM. So we are pre-launch to that extent, but we have done all the groundwork for this to be made possible.
Do your credit underwriting standards have a sort of expected default rate for these loan pools?
Oh yeah,
Default rate.
expected default rate, I'm sorry. So for the target market that we are accessing, which is credit institutions in emerging market, this defaults actually in last decade is less than 1%. And there is a registered data given by Bank of International Settlement. It's a published data, less than 1% default rate.
Are you focused on a special market to go to market now?
GTM, right? You are
Regional market, yes.
yeah, so this is, GTM is in Southeast Asia. Indonesia and Singapore, to be very specific. That's our GTM.
Thank you for the presentation. What do you see as the key risk in terms of the next 24 months growing the business?
Yeah, sorry.
Key risk? Thank you.
Key hits? Oh, yeah, sure. Key risk. So key risk would be, for example, for us, if we were to go live, our approach is to build it in a progressively once we achieve product market fit. So the risk is if we are not able to decentralize it, that would be one of the biggest risks. Very strong risk management system in place for a protocol like ours. That would be a risk.
That's great. Thank you very much. Round of applause, please.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Sarabi. You can give that thing. So Sarabi has pitched a few times, and always kind of in the back kind of chat, you can hear everyone always writes, I want whatever she's selling. So she's a great pitcher. So thanks a million, Sarabi. Our second pitcher for today is Defactor. It's Alejandro Gutierrez, and Defactor is bridging traditional finance into DeFi. So give Alessandro a big warm welcome.
Hey everybody, my name is Alejandro Gutierrez. I'm the co-founder of The Factor, and I'm telling you how The Factor is bridging traditional finance into the DeFi space. So, after COVID, liquidity is starting to get constrained for many businesses and for many industries. And the reason behind this is because traditional finance has a huge issue on deploying capital towards loans, especially for SMEs and for developing countries, right? So what this tells us is that traditional finance is realistically not supporting economic growth, right? Good example of this is trade finance. Trade finance has a deficit of $1.7 trillion at the moment, and is expected to grow between $3 and $5 trillion fairly soon. On the flip side, actually, we are seeing a huge appetite for yield generation generated products that are not solely related to digital assets in the DeFi space. And the idea behind this is because investors, they want to diversify their portfolios, but also they want to just regain some confidence in the market. So, based on, or after seeing these problems and based on our expertise providing supply chain finance services in the DeFi space for the last years, we came with a concept of tokenizing real-world assets in the DeFi space. And the reason behind this is two. The first one, we are trying to provide alternative sources of liquidity for supply chain finance companies in order they can just pass that fresh liquidity into SMEs and into as well developing countries, right? And the idea is that this platform is allowing them as well to just have some financial innovation in order to just make the financial system a little bit more inclusive. The second part is stability in the DeFi space. As you know, it's extremely convoluted at the moment, and if we bring in real-world assets into the DeFi, what we are trying to do is trying to bring non-correlated assets that are going to make everything a little bit more stable, but also cutting over leveraging. That is one of the issues that we have at the moment. We believe that this is one of the largest opportunities that we have seen in the financial market in long time. We're talking a $7 trillion opportunity here, and we believe that we can cap probably $5 billion out of the global lending market within the next 3 to 5 years. Competitors, the real-world asset space is extremely small and new. It's more a competition. We're working with most of the biggest players in the space, but it's good to mention that we have been the first ones bringing this type of approach into the Algorand ecosystem, and we're working with the likes of Agro Token already. Team, we have a well-rounded team, tons of experience in the TradFi space, but also we have been one of the first movers in the real-world asset lending space in DeFi, so that gives us a huge competitive advantage compared to some other teams. Finally, I think DeFi is set to be the new foundation for financial infrastructure. And real-world assets actually are going to help us just to clean up the act in the crypto space and create solutions actually for the real world, right? As it's impossible to keeping with unsustainable yield chasing. So what we want to ask you guys is to join us in this road to create a more inclusive financial system that is built in DeFi, and we can avoid the scams of the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Alejandro. Thank you. Thank you.
Come back, come back.
Far out. Forgot. Sorry, guys.
Well done, first of all.
Thank you.
Again, the question of traction, of actual traction, live traction. Do you have any right now?
Yeah. So we have done through pools that are not ours at the moment. We have done $7.5 million. With our own pools, we have put $1.5 million so far in capital deployed. All this has been going through factoring and trade finance at the moment. All on chain.
In event of default, is there any sort of legal mechanism for you guys to take claim of these real-world assets?
So again, sorry.
In event of default, so somebody's borrowing cash, right? You're tokenizing the real-world asset.
Yep.
That's collateral. What happens if a borrower defaults?
So we have actually a financial structure that is an SPV. All the assets actually are going there. So if there are any default, then you go and liquidate these assets, right? Yeah, it's in a traditional way, but the idea is that we are preparing for when NFTs actually are going to be able to be taken to court, and then you can just prove that you are the rightful owner with them. What is that going to be? I don't know, but that's what we are going to prepare towards, right?
Liquidators are getting a lot of practice right now, so we'll see.
Yeah, we will see.
Just it's also a question that is asked here, why Algorand?
Why Algorand? Well, I think we have an approach that we want to be in as many chains as possible, and there is interesting that is one, credibility from the tech perspective, but also it gives you a more traditional focus from the chain, right? And we want to be just surrounded by companies that have that similar approach. As you can see, we're a fairly traditional play in DeFi, so we need that.
What sort of help do you and the team need? What sort of help do you need?
Liquidity. I think it's one of the biggest ones, right? Especially where we are with the current market conditions. And it's a huge education that needs to be put in forward for this, right? We need to educate more traditional people to come, to start tapping. We believe there is a huge opportunity there because they are fairly familiarized with this type of products. So people know pretty well supply chain finance, inventory finance, factoring, and that probably can be a good segue to bring more traditional people to invest in this type of solutions.
De facto, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Alejandro. Coming all the way from Ireland. Woohoo! Okay. So our next pitcher is Philip Garbado from Dflex. Dflex is an exchange infrastructure for optimized DeFi trading. So welcome, Philip.
Hello, everyone. All right, so Dflex is the Algorand liquidity ocean. So many Algorand Dapps require asset exchange services. However, the Algorand trading ecosystem is very fragmented. There's several different options for providing liquidity. There's 4 major AMMs, 2 major order books, and several other DEXs in development. This liquidity higher prices for clients on any single exchange. The solution is Dflex. Dflex is exchange infrastructure for best-in-class DeFi trading, leveraging Algorand's renowned efficiency by combining and optimizing liquidity routes across existing DEXs. Dflex offers 2 products, a routing protocol for slippage-optimized market orders, and a limit order protocol for on-chain limit orders. Dflex is developed by the founders of DeFi and myself, Phil Gabardo, the founder of Alamex. Dflex is the conjunction of DeFi and Alamex. So the routing protocol and the limit order protocol are implemented on-chain as Algorand smart contracts, but both protocols have off-chain components as well, including APIs and SDKs, to simplify the integration process for Dapps. The routing protocol finds the optimal liquidity route between any 2 tokens, using a combination of multi-hop and split swaps, leveraging all available liquidity in the ecosystem. The limit order protocol allows users to place limit orders on-chain, which can be filled using any liquidity in the ecosystem. Both protocols are composable, can leverage each other. So the routing protocol can leverage the liquidity from the limit order protocol to optimize swaps, and the limit order protocol can leverage the routing protocol to optimally fill orders. Dflex charges a 4 basis point transaction fee for swaps through either protocol. Half of the fee goes towards the Dflex treasury, and the other half goes towards the referring Dapp. So Dflex has completed implementation of the routing protocol and the limit order protocol, as well as the APIs and SDKs to accelerate adoption by Dapps. Both protocols have been audited by Vantage Point with no vulnerabilities found. The next step is adding limit order liquidity into the order routing, which should be done in Q1 of 2023. Over the past 30 days, Dflex has partnered with 8 different Dapps to provide asset trading services and has processed over $2.5 million of transaction volume through 520 unique wallets from a total of 5,400 swaps, resulting in $300 of revenue. Thank you.
Thank you, Phil. And over to our judges. Anyone?
Well done, straight to the point, clear value proposition, simple solution. I have nothing but good things to say. Well done. There's one question though. Obviously, we're biased towards Algorand right now. This is an Algorand conference. Does this scale to other chains, or is this an Algorand-specific solution?
Yeah, so a lot of the infrastructure that we've built is kind of chain agnostic. but there are some components that are definitely coupled to Algorand. So for example, our routing contract is written in Teal. It's very Algorand specific, and it relies on some technical requirements that only Algorand has. So for example, composability, contract-to-contract calls, and several other kind of nuanced things.
Yeah, great presentation, mate. The joining two businesses, so DeFi and Alamex, are both teams coming together, or what's the structure of the actual team?
Yeah, so both teams are kind of joining up to develop Deflex, the underlying protocols, but we're maintaining both of our individual products. So both Alamex and DeFi will continue to exist, but they will both leverage Deflex protocols to power trading.
Is there a sweet spot in terms of trade size that you've seen that kind of mitigates the slippage that you would have if you were to go to an individual AMM by using Deflex?
Yeah, I would say anything over $1,000, you tend to get sizable gains by leveraging Deflex over a single AMM, on the order of more than $1.
Can you tell us more about the competitive landscape?
Right now, there's no other competitors that are providing these kinds of services.
And how big is the team?
The team consists of myself and the 4 founders of DeFi, but we also have a community around us that's able to help with things like marketing and sales and partnerships.
Well done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Phil. Give it up for Deflex. Okay, so now we have a troublemaker coming to the stage. This is Adam Hoffman from Nimble Insurance. Nimble Insurance is a decentralized insurance marketplace. Okay, so welcome. Give them a big warm welcome.
Thanks, Joe. Hey, everyone. I'm Adam, co-founder of Nimble. We're insurance, so you all know probably what insurance is. So I figured I'd quickly just kind of hustle through here. So the fast version of insurance. Insurance used to be super simple. Chinese merchants would split up their goods and cargo among different ships. So if one ship went down, not one business went out of business, right? That's pretty simple. And then from there, some wealthy people said, hey, let's get in on that action. And they said, we'll cover your risk and we'll share in that. And from there, insurance companies popped up and said, we'll take that straight to the bank and then we'll make an absolute mess out of it. So from there, that's what they did. They made a mess out of it. So regulators came in, and as we know, the rest of it is super linear and easy and so easy to understand, and we all love insurance. Not true, but this is what insurance looks like today. An absolute just cluster, right? So it's a $6 trillion industry. Carriers are making tons of money on 3 to 4% returns, but the insureds are paying the premium for that. It's wildly confusing. There's high barriers to entry from the regulation side and the tech side, and that's led to something that didn't show up on my slide, but it's led to wild numbers of unhappy customers. So it led us to rethink what insurance is. So we want to build an insurance world that works for everyone, and this is how it works. Leveraging Algorand's technology and blockchain technology, any insured asset is a risk pool. Decentralized underwriters, actuaries, we can dig into that some other time about what they do, but they're the insurance professionals who make sure insurance works. They're going to determine the rates and the structure. From there, all of that is set up. LPs can fund on top of that, and an allocation of all of that goes to what's called the Nimble Common Reserve. The reason we do that is, if you zoom out, here's all these risk pools all contributing to the common reserve. So you're creating a system where each risk pool is independent, but they're all helping to make sure they all remain solvent. And we have to do that in a secure way. So expected claims for a risk pool is those claims are paid by premium, which gives the LPs some cushion to know that they're not putting all their money on the line. And then it goes up layers to traditional reinsurance, to get to a point where the total insured TVL is fully protected along that 30-second click line. So, and what do we do to make sure it's equitable? The more people in the Nimble community, the more revenue. That incentivizes growth and behavior. Insurers can get cash back if the premiums, if the claims are lower. And as the community grows, expenses stabilize, which continues to support that model. And I just made it under the buzzer.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Nicely done. Over to our judges.
Great presentation.
Thank
First question, did you do those animations yourself?
I did do those animations last night. That's why the slides were late.
Oh, impressive. Okay, very good. And what type of catastrophic events does Nimble Insurance cover?
Yeah, so what we're doing now is we're working with our 15 project partners on Algorand to provide coverage for smart contract vulnerability and smart contract hack. But those same smart contracts that we use to make sure that process works is scalable to really any insurance asset. So we're having conversations with real world companies like cell phone insurance, insurance for mobile devices, and other use cases like that. But right now, we're focused on our project partners on Algorand.
Seeing the team here now, can you give a little bit of background to some key team members?
Oh yeah, for sure. So I spent 22 years in the insurance industry, so that's my background, and you can all say Sonic is the tech co-founder. Annalie she spent a time in crypto in the partnership sector. Everybody comes with a certain skill set, but we're making sure that everybody's also a builder. We want to make sure that we can break things comfortably and then fix them again, and also be able to connect the dots. Insurance, crypto, it's hard to work together in that, so we just make sure, I could go down everyone and say great things about them, but I only have 20 seconds.
Adam, great presentation, mate, and great team. What's the key risk for you?
Yeah, I think the biggest challenge for us is in regulation, because insurance regulation is tricky. We are getting a full insurance license through Bermuda, which solves that, but we want to be a part of that conversation ongoing, so that's always a challenge.
Yeah, just on traction and real-world traction.
Yeah. So traction right now is the DeFi asset projects. We have 15 of them that represent about 150 million in TVL. And then from there, we would be rolling out, and I can't really, hopefully the traction's great in the real world, but right now we're focused on that DeFi assets.
Nimble, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much.
Thank you, thank you.
Thanks. Thanks, Adam. Thank you. Okay, so we have Kameta up next. Kameta is single-sided liquidity lending. Kameta actually just finished one of our accelerators, the Rocker Accelerator. Give a wave, Lorenzo, over there, accelerator lead and partner at Rocker. So I just want to welcome to the stage Daria.
Hello everyone, I'm Daria and I present you the Kameta, a single-sided liquidity lending protocol. In the future, everything will be tokenized, but to make it happen, we need one more significant element, and this is liquidity. But currently, liquidity attraction is too expensive and complicated. Imagine that you're a project that just launched a token, and now you need liquidity, but you don't have cash. What are you going to do? You can get a loan, but in most cases, lending platforms do not accept your tokens as collateral. You can use liquidity mining, but you have to give your tokens for free, and you have to pay in advance to cover impairment loss risk in user rewards. As a result, you waste around 30% of the tokens. To bring DeFi to the next level of stability and to help the Algorand ecosystem grow, we have to find a new way to attract liquidity and users. And this is the Kameta, a single-sided liquidity lending. Kameta allows projects to attract low-cost and sustainable liquidity and gives liquidity providers double trading fees and impairment loss protection. Sounds like a magic, right? But let's see how it works. Liquidity providers provide cash, and projects provide token. We put it together to the Dapps, and as outcome, we have trading and impairment loss. Trading fees come directly to liquidity providers, and project has to cover the impairment loss. Kameta is extremely capital efficient for project, just in theory, because we validated our approach using historical data. Also, we did a dozen interviews with projects, and 90% of them wants to try the Kameta. For liquidity providers, Kameta is a great balance between profits and risks. Single-sided liquidity market is rapidly growing. It has the potential to become the core DeFi primitive. And we are not alone who wants to bring DeFi to the next level of stability, and we believe that single-sided liquidity is a game changer. On Algorand, we match Algos with project tokens and brings Algorand sustainable liquidity. Our deep tech background helps us to provide easy-to-use but not easy-to-build solutions. Our advisors have massive experience in crypto and DeFi. Last 3 months, we get more than 30 partnerships. We grew our TVL to $300,000, and we have an excellent engagement with and other platforms. We're supported by the top investors, and this is the Kameta. Let's build the future of DeFi together.
Thank you, Daria. Very good. Over to our judges.
Thank you, Daria. Why Algorand?
It's a great question. We choose Algorand first from the technical perspective because we believe that it's secure and fast enough for the DeFi, the future of DeFi. But now we also realized that we can help Algorand with liquidity. We don't want to waste algos. We don't want to waste tokens. We want to match them together and like double liquidity next year in Algorand.
Daria, very well done. I think it was a great presentation, and I have to commend you on your shoes. They're absolutely. Now,
thank you.
Now, in all seriousness, you mentioned that 90% of the projects that you've spoken to actually buy into that. How do you see this translating for you, let's say, in the next 12 months in revenue for the company?
Great question. So we talk with around 40 projects in Algorand. It's almost all projects that we have. A lot of them want to try. I would say 30% of them have sustainable tokenomics for us, healthy tokenomics. And our estimation, if the market will be the same, at least as now, we can reach around maybe 5 million TVL by the end of next year. But it's, it's kind of optimistic, realistic way. We need support foundation and so on, and then we can make it.
Love the logo as well. Good name.
Thank you.
I was wondering about how the projects go about covering the impermanent loss, like which token is that covered in? How do they pay it back to the liquidity provider?
Could you just repeat again?
Yeah, so how does the project cover the impermanent loss for the liquidity provider, like the mechanics?
How they cover, how we manage it. Yes. So projects need liquidity. They are ready to pay for it, right? And they have to cover the impermanent loss. Based on our statistic, if the token price drops less than twice, that's huge, then it's much cheaper just to use liquidity mining. So basically, they just pay for it. But if they don't pay, we just sell tokens to the collateral auction, like MakerDAO, I think, does. So it's kind of lending. Yeah. But we have a great article from my team about that, the huge one about how we work it. Please check it.
I just wanted to know, how are you funded so far?
Funding. Right? So we have Cogent VC, it's outside Algorand, we just bring him. We have a big brain, our lovely biggest VC, and now we talk with Borderless to try to onboard them as a lead investor.
One final question. The vault, did you guys create this yourself, or did you use existing architecture for it? The vault, did you?
The vault?
Yes, did you create it yourself, or you used an existing vault architecture?
No, we invented our smart contract here as my deep tech team. We built a smart contract by ourselves. The whole infrastructure that we built is our own infrastructure.
Kameta, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Daria. Okay, so pitch number 7 is Polonize. Mars and Shirov will be pitching. Polonize is the esports of innovation. So please give them a big warm welcome.
All right, let's do this. First of all, thank you to Joanna and the Foundation for having us. My name is Mars, this is Sharav. We're the co-founders of Polonize, the esports of innovation. And we crowdsource creativity within communities and to solve real-world problems. And then we tokenize that intelligence into tradable assets. And that's all within the competitive dynamics of our game platform, which Sharav will show us in a moment. The inspiration for Polonize was born from our history in the music industry as music performers and music producers. And we're really fascinated by how, as musicians, we're able to rapidly create valuable assets in the form of songs. And so we took that process of creativity which we experienced and we turned that initially into a board game. We developed those game dynamics for 3 years before porting that on-chain. We completed our first raise at the end of last year, and we've spent this year basically building Polonize Digital so we can scale our vision globally where people of all cultures can come together to create and collaborate on solutions to solve the world's biggest problems. So,
thank you, Mars. Very, very quick tour here, just to show you how we incubate ideas at scale and turn them into tangible value. This is our homepage. Players come through, and it all starts with mission control. Missions are challenges that are set by brands, they're set by NGOs, they can be social problems, they can be technical problems. We've been doing alpha here in the Algorand community with brands like Kameta, actually, and we've been running different challenges. You can see them here. I want to go into one of my favorites, actually, that we ran about 2 months ago, just as a quick glimpse into Polonize. So this is one of our favorite subjects. Governance generates a lot of chatter, but we wanted to focus on solutions. Let's look at how could we improve governance. And we had about 50 or 100 players. And what you're seeing here is the game summary page where people have come in and incubated their ideas to solve this problem. And each one of these cubes with a sphere inside is called a poly. And that is one person's idea to solve this problem. This is a digital incubator that you're seeing in front of you. Now, I don't have a lot of time, and I can't go through the process of how we train creative thinking and actually lead you through the process, but I can show you the result. Let me show you probably my favorite poly. Actually, the top scoring poly here, we've got leaderboards of the best ideas and the best innovators. Our top poly in this game, really amazing depth of thinking, 7 generations through the game of evolving this idea by one of our top players called Shaper of Entropy. And this is a very, very deep and detailed idea. He's even uploaded an algorithm for how you can do governance better. So we can love to talk to you more about all the other things in the platform, the competitive dynamics and so on, but I do want to just finish by saying we now want to take this out to the world, especially student communities. We've done it for 1,000 players here, and with your help, hopefully in the partnerships that we need to take this out, we can do that next year. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. Judges.
Thank you, guys. What's the revenue model for Polonize?
There's 3 revenue models that I'll just quickly mention here. Short-term, asset sales on the player side. We've already been doing that. That's avatars, in-game assets, boosts for the game, creds. These are all working well. Medium term, there's an opportunities coming up around taking the product and turning it into productizing it for corporates, for example, who want to run this as an experience with their teams. That's one example there, universities and so on. Longer term, and the ultimate revenue model here is a scaled one. We've got royalties flowing back to creators for what they're creating. We've got asset sales and so on, and a platform clip, and essentially a royalty model is the long-term model there.
Well done on stage over there. I love your vibe, and I love the fact that we're looking at something that isn't driven by DeFi, just at its core. 2 questions. Why Algorand, and tell us more about the team, and thank you.
what was the second one, sorry? Team, yes. Currently, team sits at 6. Sharav's leading the tech team with Simon Hacho, they've been working together for 20 years. We have a lead designer in Manchester, head of community and head of marketing, so that's 6 at the moment. So we've really locked down to extend our runway through this cold and bitter winter. Why Algorand? I've had my eye on Algorand for years before we actually decided to go on there technically. And basically, our platform essentially is a Web 2 platform. So we needed technology sitting on the bottom of the stack there that just worked, and that we could do it, we could connect and go. So that's what's happened, and that's what we have.
Super cool. Love the leaderboard look too. Are these tokenized ideas patentable in any way, or is there sort of a legal framework you're thinking around monetization of these IPs, these concepts?
Yeah, this is a very, very good question, and a very common question, and one that's actually probably key to our scaling here is to essentially, I might give a slightly detailed answer to this because it's a deep question actually. There's a closed model of IP. It's called basically patents, and I've spent many years in software. In my opinion, it doesn't work. There's an open model, which is called open source software, which has no economics in it at all for creators. What we're essentially doing here is working towards what we believe will be a viable, not just us, but a third point in that triangle, and that's essentially to keep the flow of ideas open, because that's what creates creativity, but to reward creators using the kind of Web3 things that we can do, such as royalties. So that's why Web3, sorry.
How many users do you currently have, and how do you measure the...
We have 1,000 users, roughly, now. Yes, user acquisition is one of them. The growth of our assets, primarily these polys, so the actual activity in creating these polys is another one. And there are various other measures that we'll be looking at in the next period. But basically, user acquisition. If you don't have great creators at the middle of this, then you're not creating value in the platform.
Polonize, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much.
Give it up for Sharav and Mars. Thanks a million. You want to give the... Great. So next up is Mark Farrington from Illustrated World Series. Mark's been in our ecosystem for a while, and on his last competition, they had 1.3 million attendees online viewing the Illustrated World Series. So Illustrated World Series is building an ecosystem for competitive creativity. So please give Mark a really warm welcome.
Hi, I'm Mark Farrington, founder of the Illustrated World Series. We're an esports tournament organizer, global events IP, and media and entertainment space, producing up to 4 events per year with a focus on art, on illustration, and competitive creativity. We began 5 years ago delivering IRL tournaments. The way it would work is artists would battle in 60-minute knockout bouts to illustrate a recent news headline. They would have to have a grayscale palette and a single color of their choice. We'd have a judging panel and a social voting component that would decide who would win. COVID arrived, we moved online, instantly, a much larger audience. Attendance grew, with each event averaging over 500,000 unique views. Moving online, we realized our events, they anchored our brand, but more importantly, we discovered huge appetite among our base, wanting an opportunity to flex, be seen, showcase, and compete for themselves. So we aim to build an interface for artists so they can stream their skills, engage their communities, monetize their content year-round on their terms. This will build a new market for artists and provide UGC between our main event, building our base too. Once creators realize they can quickly earn money via our player versus player and play-to-earn gaming mechanics, we'll grow fast and will benefit from the network growth effect. Year-round engagement will double up as qualifiers for our main events, feeding talent through. Key product features which creators can toggle on and off include a click-to-commission button, we take a percentage. Pusu, put up or shut up, stake your NFTs to win. Vote your winner. Join whitelist, buy now, gifting and request, we take a percentage, and instant bid live ad. You can advertise from $1. There's a 3-minute window to complete the bid. 75% of that revenue goes back to the creator. We take 25%, So you can advertise with a buck, monetize with a fan. $1 and a fan is all you need to get started. Why blockchain? Creator control, secure, fast, awards are instantly transferred and traced. Gaming and blockchain, it's a natural fit. Why Algorand? Fast, affordable, green, scalable, zero forks, never down, great UX, everything we need. Our revenue models are largely built around our play-to-earn commissions, our ad revenues, RWS NFT drops, sponsorships, and brand activations. We also have a major APAC partner ready to pump our content out across terrestrial, cable, OTT, and fast channels, building our Asian market. These guys are already doing amazing things with Riot Games. Our team, George Howard there in the middle, the arts advisor for Algorand, Nelson Diaz on the end, doing great things with NFT, me, and our ask is 5 million seed raise for 15% of the equity in the company, 15% of our token, but most importantly, 250 grand for an MVP, which will take 12 weeks to build out, which can be paid through a safe agreement and offset against a latter stage investment. Let's go. Let's onboard the next 10 mil. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Over to our judges.
That was the best Why Algorand pitch I've ever heard in my life, especially with the flashing colors. Fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So my question is, for the artists that are in this IWS, how do they currently monetize their works? Like, what's their main source of income?
Yeah, they advertise on Instagram, on Twitter, on TikTok. They stream on YouTube, on Twitch. They advertise their wares to agencies. They take commissions on board. They put on their bios saying, I'm currently available to work, all that sort of stuff. There's nothing really on the social scene that allows these artists to go on and monetize with a buck and a fan and start it from there. With a kickback of 75%, there's nowhere else that does that. So there is no, to answer your question, there's nowhere. Yeah.
Great presentation. A quick question around customer acquisition. What is your strategy from a customer acquisition perspective?
Yeah, sure. So we'll kind of slowly, I guess we'll migrate our fans from our social feeds, from Instagram, from Twitch, from Twitter. We'll slowly get them across to our interface. We're also doing a partnership with Influence, who are a company who own billions and billions of reach of influence around the world. They're asking us to take some equity in our company in exchange for that to really pump our platform.
You had 5 million, you're raising 5 million. What does that actually allow you to do, and how will you spend it?
Yeah, so that's to do with building out our ecosystem more widely. I want to build out the team. I need a team. I've bootstrapped this with not a penny spent on marketing for the last, 4 years? I've self-funded it. It's bootstrapped. We've not taken any investment. We were lucky enough to get an Algorand Foundation grant, which helped. But basically, I need to build a team. I need to build out some infrastructure, so I'm not doing everything myself, and we can scale this so it's realistic as a kind of global business. So largely it's spent on the team, the infrastructure, and the build-out.
Do you know Talent House and Algo?
Sorry?
Talent House and Algo, do you know these companies?
I don't think so, no.
They're a little bit, I would say, also in the space, but more Web 2 and also investing, and I think you should talk to them.
Talent House, okay, thank you.
Talent House and Algo. Yeah, it's under the roof of Talent House. It's in the UK.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Very good.
Thank you, Mark. So all of the newcomers who've joined the room, the Developer Greenhouse recently, this is the Scale final pitch. This is for viable seed stage companies who've either participated in an accelerator or are currently looking for funding. So our next pitch is a pitch to us quite recently, and we had a look at it and we said, this is really interesting. It is called Metamozonia. Melissa will be pitching. Metamozonia is a metaverse for social and climate impact, and it's really fun. So hope you enjoy.
Thank you so much. As she said, Metamozonia is a metaverse for social and climate impact. We operate at the nexus of blockchain, sustainability, and Web3. But before I tell you more about Metamozonia, what we're doing and where we're headed, I have to tell you where we've been. So I'm going to tell you this story. Our story is that we have actually been operating in the Amazon rainforest for the last 15 years, protecting it. We actually own and operate 50,000 acres of Amazon rainforest. And we have reduced 2.5 million tons of CO2. Now, if you don't know how much 2.5 million tons of CO2 is, it is actually 2.5 million cars driving around the world once. There are 1,000 families that are currently living on our reserve, and we support them through SDG projects, and we have partnerships with top-tier universities like Cambridge, Imperial College, and UCLA. Now, in our reserve, you can see here the yellow areas. The yellow areas is our actual reserve in the Amazon rainforest as we speak, and what you can see here in the red is the deforestation rate in the surrounding areas, which is 25 times more than our reserve today. And this is what it looks like. It's beautiful. Don't you want to protect it? So where does tech come in? Where does Web3 come in? Well, Metamozonia is a photorealistic digital twin. We're building it on Unreal Engine. And a whole host of both physical and digital utilities that allow people to immerse themselves and get involved in our fight against climate change. We have a whole host of revenue streams, our core ones being our non-timber products, acai berries, Brazil nuts, etc., and our verified carbon credit program that's been in operation for the last 13 years. But with Metamozonia, what we will be able to do is to introduce new revenue streams like NFTs, in-metaverse sales, and fees collected on the secondary market. Now, for us, 50 million acres, it's not enough. Our intent is to get to 5 million acres of protected land. That is the size of Switzerland. And we believe that blockchain is absolutely critical to do that because it allows us to be more transparent. It gives us the opportunity to crowdfund, and it gives people the opportunity to be able to immerse themselves in our world. Our land, every NFT plot that is sold in Metamozonia comes with underlying economic rights associated with carbon credits and non-timber products. And we believe that Algorand is absolutely the perfect fit. Beyond the transaction speeds, for us, Algorand is a blockchain for social impact, and that's exactly what we show up. That's what we're doing. So we feel there's amazing value alignment here. So far where we are, we're at phase 1. We've built a demo. It's fully immersive. You today can go. In order for us to scale, we need support. We need both technical and financial support to be able to do that, to introduce new utilities, to be able to introduce multiplayer, to be able to host events. Now we have a great team, very thankful to be amongst incredible people. We have some fantastic partners. And you probably want to see it, so let's show it to you. So as you can see, we've used GIS data, we've used LiDAR scanning, we've used drones, and we've actually recreated, this is a village on our reserve today.
Thank you very much, Melissa.
Thanks.
Questions from our judges, please.
Really great presentation. Just in terms of traction, you mentioned that you need help from a technical perspective. Can you double click on that and do you have a clear roadmap in terms of what you plan to achieve in the short term?
Yes, absolutely. We want to be able to introduce we want to be able to introduce multiplayer gameplay because that will allow us to introduce all utilities such as being able to host events, ecotourism, as well as how hosting classrooms and university classes within the metaverse. And we do have a very detailed roadmap. Very happy to share that with you later.
Melissa, thank you for the presentation. What's the demographic of your user?
At the demographic of our user, we really see the youngest generations being a key part of this. We're actively trying to target students. And we also intend to introduce gameplay so that we can also introduce the gaming community. Beyond that, we're also trying to strike up because what we want to be able to do is to provide them an opportunity to invest in the metaverse and to invest in Web3 in a way that also helps them.
Does an acre translate to like a number of carbon credits? Is there sort of a evaluation or formula there, or is that all?
Credits are that the methodology for that is as per Vero, which is the top international regulatory body in the world for carbon credits. So we have a contract with them for 32 years, and they come in and they audit the amount of carbon credits that are actually, so they audit the tons of carbon mitigated every year. That's how we know.
Do you have any revenue projections already? I know it's difficult because onboarding needs to come first.
So we do have some revenue projections, but we're currently just working on our tokenomics right now. I'm very, very happy to sit down with you and to take you through that all after this.
Metamozonia, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Melissa. Okay, so just 2 more pitches to go in the scale final for a developer greenhouse pitch final. Just to give everyone context of like how did we get to the last 10 today. So we had loads of people applying. We had a semi-final on Monday, and they were such great sports. They all came on Monday. Every single one of them turned up. It was brilliant, and we got down to our final 10. So this has been a bit of a journey. So I'm very pleased to welcome Harsh. Harsh is building Algo Scan, a block explorer and analytics platform. So please give him a warm welcome.
God, there's way too many people here. Hi, I'm Harsh, and I built Algo Scan. It's an analytics, a blockchain explorer and analytics platform built on Algorand. So a little bit about me. I'm doing this for about 10 years now, and last year I quit my job to focus full-time on Algo Scan, and it's been amazing ever since. It's been what I so here's the problem, right? Algorand is growing. I mean, we've seen consistent month-to-month growth across all metrics, including DeFi, NFTs, and Web2 businesses coming on board. This conference is actually a great example of that. I mean, look how many people were here last year versus this year. And this growth will only accelerate as we see different asset classes, new smart contracts, and a changing AVM protocol come online. With more developers, investors, and institutions entering the ecosystem, Algorand will have to scale to the needs of this growing community. And scaling Algorand comes in many forms. I mean, it involves analytical data feeds on core blockchain metrics, asset monitoring tools for developers and institutions, better systems for smart contract parsing, on-chain analysis tools for wallets, assets, and transactions, and risk management systems, allowing users and investors to do better due diligence. I want to see where the money is going, what wallets it's coming from, and what apps it's involved in. This is where AlgoScan comes in. It's a blockchain explorer and analytics, an all-in-one analytics platform, building tools that make on-chain data accessible to everyone, not just the developers. And it involves a suite of robust tools. So we have AlgoScan, which is a general block explorer and open analytics platform, and then AlgoScan Pro, a premium analytics dashboard with enriched data feeds providing access to key blockchain metrics. And this is AlgoScan's network effect. As Algorand grows, so will AlgoScan. Developers need better analytical tools for their ecosystem. Investors, both retail and institutional, need monitoring platforms for their investments. Users want fast access to enriched on-chain data with an emphasis on transparency. AlgoScan will help Algorand scale for everyone. Now, the market. I mean, we're already familiar with Algo Explorer. It's the #1 explorer on Algorand. AlgoScan actually stands at #2. We do better across all metrics, and we're the topmost SEO-ranked explorer on Algorand. Then we have Goalseeker, which has a little bit of a buggy, Algorand support, and Dapps, which is primarily meant for sandbox developers. In terms of the analytics side, there are currently no platforms that are exclusive to Algorand. So let's take a look at across the pond at Ethereum. We have Dune, The Graph, Infura, Flipside, Nansen, and Alchemy. All of these do millions or billions in queries and hundreds and thousands of users, and offer or generate revenue in the 5 to 6 or 6 to 7 figure range monthly. Speaking of revenue, as the second largest block explorer in Algorand, averaging 1,000 plus daily active users, with AlgoScan V1 and with V2 already released, we expect to have increased analytics and a revamped UI. AlgoScan is uniquely positioned to offer premium analytical tools to Algorand through a series of robust APIs and data-enriched dashboards. Check us out at algoscan.app, please.
Thank you very much. Over to our judges.
Thanks for the presentation. Your service.
Sure. So if, looking across the pond at Ethereum, it's clear that both users, investors, everyone really wants sort of these data-enriched feeds, right? We just don't want to look at transactions. We want to see like deep analytics about where wallets or where the money is coming from, where is it going, what tokens, what contracts, what different asset classes involved in. And the idea is that users are willing to pay for that transparency, and investors and institutions even more so. So that's where sort of our revenue model comes in, which is the idea that if we offer these premium APIs and premium dashboards and enriched data sets, the users will come and pay.
My question is actually a follow-up. If you're on stage next year at Decipher, what does Algo Scan look like?
It is it's the #1 explorer on Algorand. That's where it starts. And, we're already onboarding tons of users to our premium products and giving them access to full transparency on chain without, the necessarily expertise of, having to decipher all these different items.
Good zinger there. Didn't. What's your monthly overhead cost to like maintain all these guys, et cetera?
Yeah, so I'm doing this out of pocket, right now, but it's about like $3 based on traffic. I think with the launch of V2, we're expected to almost instantly, and so it'll be sort of on the upper side, near 5,000. Yeah. Oh, of course. There's fixed cost or cloud data storage or fixed costs, and so they only increase as the blockchain really increases, right? But like querying that data is like sort of like this one-time cost, and then we scale with our users.
What kind of marketing do you do? How do you reach now the new customers?
That's a good question. I haven't done any marketing. Most of the stuff that we've done with AlgoScan has been sort of just native growth, me just talking to projects and different people and going, hey, look, check this out, tell me what you think. And people have been really responsive to that, yeah.
AlgoScan, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much.
Harsh. Thanks a million, Harsh. Okay, so we are on our final pitch for today. This is Dapps, and Mohit is going to be presenting. Mohit came from Algo Barrett. Do you want to give a big wave there? Anil as well, Algo Barrett, all the Indian efforts. It's been really, really great. Some really strong teams we're seeing coming from India. We've also had a lot of people asking about pitching their companies, and they're like, we want to pitch. So we are going to be rolling pitching competitions out through our Hack Shacks globally in 2023. So keep an eye on the website for the locations, which will be going up very shortly. So please give Mohit a big warm welcome.
Hi, everyone. So one of the greatest problems plaguing the Web3 space right now is adoption. There are thousands of applications, but they don't have any users. Most of these applications are ghost applications. And why isn't adoption really happening in Web3? If you were to look at it from a developer or a startup's point of view, first of all, finding a customer is really difficult because you can't make use of ad networks like Google and Facebook since there is no way to target a user. And even if you're able to get a few users, keeping them is even more difficult because unlike Web 2, where you have so many tools to remind a user about your application, like you can send them an email, you can send them an SMS, you can send them a WhatsApp, you can't really do any of that in Web 3. On top of it, for users, it's even worse. Like for a new user coming to Web 3, the UI sucks. There is no better way to put it. What they're used to is if they need something, they tap a button on their phone and an application opens up. However, in Web 3, it's a 9-step process. Plus, on top of it, there are so many scams that they just don't want to try out anything new. To solve these problems, we are creating Dapps, which is a decentralized app store. This is open source, censorship resistant, and neutral to any infrastructure. The idea of Dapps is to make Web3 completely invisible to the users, much like internet is invisible to us when we are browsing Instagram. With this, developers would be able to easily find users, and users would be able to install apps with a click of a button. The categorization and sorting essentially enables discoverability of apps so that newer set of developers find audience for their innovation. For application and messaging without the need of a middleware, so that developers can now create feedback loops and get the users back into the system. The ratings and reviews to an extent keep the scams at bay. Device, so users can access it from their phones, tablets, laptops, even servers. So think of Dapps as Apple App Store plus Apple Dev Tools for Web3. These are the tools that we are creating. They're able to solve the customer acquisition, as well as personalize the experience of the user and make it absolutely seamless for them to come to Web3. Now, why are we the right team to execute on this? Tarusha and I are the two co-founders. We've been working together for the last 11 years and have executed successful products in the past in Web3. For example, we launched India's first Ethereum exchange back in 2016, and our most recent Web3 product, Uniform, recently did $1 million plus in revenue and is being used by the likes of Polygon and Reef and other projects. Now, we recently closed our pre-seed round where 36 of the best brains of the space have come together to join us, and we're really proud to have these amazing people with us. Now, finally, Dapps is essentially like Dubai. See, a couple of decades back, this was just a desert, but with the right infrastructure, ability, and motivation, we're able to make this place flourish, right? Right now, Web3 is a ghost town. With the right infrastructure, with the Algo team, with the right ability and motivation that we bring in for developers and users, we can finally make adoption happen in Web3. Thank you so much.
Fantastic. Thank you, Mohit. And for the last time today, over to our judges. Thank you.
Thanks very much, mate. Why Algorand? Why not a different ecosystem?
So as you might have heard from all the previous participants that everybody want to adopt multiple chains, right? The beauty of our product is that this is agnostic to any chain. So once a developer has deployed on Algo, anybody connecting from MetaMask would still be able to play those games that are being deployed on Algo. You don't have to deploy on multiple infrastructures. Just with one chain and you're good to go and access from any other platform. On top of it, the more chains that we add, the more powerful our system becomes. Like for example, one of the layers that we have is the identity layer. Here, when you are trying to reach out to a user, you don't have to map out their multiple addresses. Our system does that for you. So a user coming in from any chain using your product, it's the same for you, right? It basically enhances your data and allows you to personalize their experience better.
Thank you for the presentation. Quick question in terms of the monetization strategy and how do you plan to charge for applications? I mean, there is I think, heated debate on Twitter today around the App Store. So, what is your model?
So first of all, thank you for the question. I'm a big fan of making money. So we have 7 different monetization strategies. First is the AWS tier model. So whatever the developers use, they basically pay for us. For example, if they are using our identity layer, so for each identity that they are fetching of the user to beyond the free tier, they are paying us per notification. For the commerce layer, we are providing them better set of tools to empower them and make more money out of it. And we in turn make ads. And with the identity layer, essentially the identity layer becomes the Facebook pixel of Web3 now, because now you can segment and target a user based on their behavior. And we, of course, take a part of that revenue. This is currently not commercialized. This is all completely projected right now, because right now our core focus is to attract as many developers as possible.
You mentioned you have closed the seed round. How big was the seed round?
So it was a pre-seed round where we had capped the investment per investor to 10 grand, and it was a 314K round. The idea was to reach out to the best people in the space. So first of all, we figured out that what is it that we need to make Dapps successful. For example, we need good tech, good UI, good compliance, influencers, And then we made a list of the best people that are in the space. We reached out to them, 36 of them agreed to become part of our journey. That's how we closed our pre-seed round. Of course, a lot of them are spilling over to the seed round as well.
Let's give it up for Dapps, please.
Thank you.
And our other 9 wonderful projects. Thank you very much.
Okay, so, wow, okay, we got through the 10. Thank you all so much for being a really great audience and supporting them. And just give them one more big round of applause, everyone. They really deserve it.